Should the Spurs bring back Coach Budenholzer?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Zach Aguilar, the voice of Tanjiro Kamado, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kings 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hope everybody's having a great start to their week, and we'll get you chugging along right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever we get podcasts and on YouTube and on the Kings 5 Plus app. Part of the Locked On NBA Podcast Network, your team every single day. And also, yes, big news here at the Locked On Podcast Network. All Locked On pods are going to be available on Sirius XM Radio now. So, hey, check it out there. More details to come on that. So, what are we talking about today? Well, as you heard right now, the intro, Coach Budenholzer parted ways with the Milwaukee Bucks after an unsuccessful playoff run, quote unquote. But with the Spurs knowing that that's probably the next big piece to having to change coaching, could he be the guy to bring it back? We're going to dive into that and much more on Locked On Spurs. Who is joining me today? He's back, everybody. He is San Antonio sports reporter Nick Mantas. Nick, welcome back. Or should I say, welcome back, neighbor.
Exactly. We're going to be neighbors pretty soon, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, it's great to be back and great to be, kind of in this transition period of moving, but also handling sports reporting responsibilities throughout the city, which is always fun. So,
and he's not in Austin, everybody. So he's not relocating to Austin. So that's
yeah, right, exactly. Was able to find something. Should be all right for here for now. So we'll keep rolling with that and more details to come. So
I heard that for now. Well, you snuck it in there. You snuck it in there.
There could be always opportunities elsewhere. You never know what can
happen.
That's true.
That's true.
So you just got to keep the options open. But very excited to at least know where I'm going to be staying, at least for the time being, which is going to be right next to you pretty soon, which is pretty awesome.
Yep. In a few short weeks. Hey, make sure to follow Nick on Twitter at Nick_Mantas. That's Mantas, and give him your thoughts on what we're about to get into right now. So, Nick, the Bucks and Coach Bud Budenholzer, parted ways after a very lackluster run, quote unquote. With a one round, the defending champs Bucks lasted one round in the East, and they parted ways. Your thoughts on the firing? Do you think that was a bit too much, considering they just won a title recently?
Right. I mean, I was shocked, just like I think the rest of the NBA was. You had guys like Steve Kerr and other players as well who reached out and said it's shocking to see that it's what have you done for me lately type of league, but usually that really just sits for the players, but not necessarily trickles over to the coaches, especially if you're 2 years removed from winning an NBA championship. There's absolutely no reason other than maybe there was a conflict within the organization. Maybe there was an issue with him and with management. Something is a little bit deeper that might have led to the reason why he was done with the organization and they parted ways, or they didn't like the way that he was coaching, or didn't like the way that he wanted to get this program moving forward, or the organization moving forward. So it was really shocking for me to see, and for a lot of people. And I think what we have to also look at, if you just glanced over the numbers, in that 2021 NBA championship, they had a 72-46 record. They ended this last season with an 82-58 record. I mean, you're talking about, a 58-24 record. A 46-26 record was 2011 when they won the championship. So 12 more wins than when they won the NBA championship. And you're telling me right now that is not the guy you want leading this program moving forward. It's mind-boggling why Milwaukee would make that move, why they would go with it, and maybe we'll find out more details later. But you have a situation where you're finishing as one of the best teams of the league almost every single regular season, and sure, you had a rough go when it came to the playoffs, but at the same time, playoffs are do or die. I mean, just ask any of the top seeded teams recently that have lost in other leagues as well. Boston Bruins, got lost their first round. They had the best record in the regular season in NHL history, in the history of the sport. They'd had the best record, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs. So to let go of the coach, to get especially Coach Bud after all he was able to do with the Spurs and then Atlanta and then win a championship in Milwaukee, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and I think it's more of a well, for me, in my opinion, I think it's two things. One, they want to do right with Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's he has an option to leave or some sort of contractual thing where he could or not renegotiate or not resign, something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And also, too, I think it's a what have you done for me lately kind of thing with Coach Bud. Sure, you want a title, you brought home Milwaukee a NBA Larry O'Brien, but yeah, I think the sting of losing in the first round and the way they lost had to not have helped Coach. But then you add insult to injury. It's unfortunate, but you find out that Mike Budenholzer's brother died, passed away during that series. Perhaps his mind, obviously, and you would not fault him for this, is on his brother, the brother's family, if there is one, and his family. So you combine that together, and yeah, that's a bit rough.
Right.
But nevertheless, it was a bit shocking. Do you think this is also too revolves around championship window? Because if it revolves around championship window for Giannis, then why not just keep stability at the coaching spot, Nick?
Yeah. I don't correct you on most things, but I will say, as far as my Greek heritage, it's Giannis.
Giannis,
so,
okay, thank
Giannis.
you. Yes.
So no,
See,
you're fine. You're fine.
A bonus with Nick. I get to learn Greek as I get to chat with him.
Exactly. So when it comes to Giannis, he's got 2 more on the contract than he has. He's unrestricted free agent in 2026. Family plays such a huge role in our lives, and I think throughout the pandemic, all of us as a collective world started realizing that that's probably one we want to spend more time enjoying and getting an opportunity to really be around. And I think that especially as taxing and as rough as an NBA schedule can be, and then you get into the playoffs and you have a very your sibling passes away, there's a moments of realization of looking around and maybe deciding to do something else with his career, and with the way he wants to spend more time with family. I could definitely absolutely feel for that and understand that the way in which maybe this was more his decision more than anything else. Because you would scratch your head and look at Milwaukee cross-eyed to say, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing
when you've just won an NBA championship 2 seasons ago? And I can honestly, and I didn't factor that in, and that was good research on your part of remembering that when it came to that series. And so I think there's more just there's a possibility of him coming back, and I know we'll get into that, but I think it's a very interesting time for the Budenholzer household, and I think that this offseason will be some good time for him to reflect and to understand possibilities for him moving forward.
Absolutely. So he definitely has the head coaching experience in Atlanta, Milwaukee. He won a title with the Bucks, and now he is, searching for his next gig, which begs the question we're going to get into right now, right after the break, is should the Spurs bring him back to the Alamo City? Right here on Locked On Spurs with Nick Mantas. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Nick_MANTAS. Give him your hot takes. Warn him that being my neighbor might be a bad idea. Maybe go down that route.
Right, myself warned.
Yeah, right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to talk to you about Game Time. You got to get Game Time right now. You don't have to be stressed out about buying tickets. Get Game Time. That's what it's there for. It's gametime.co. So, look, if you're looking to buy tickets to your favorite event, and you want to, or just sports or music or comedy, theater, everything, you want to go to Game Time right now. They got killer deals on last minute tickets or their best price guarantee. And you can, as mentioned, stop stressing over tickets. You start getting hyped for all the fun you're going to have. They got flash deals, last minute ticket prices, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, images of seat views, the lowest price guaranteed, cancellation protection, even job loss protection. They got it all at the Game Time app. It's the fastest growing ticket app in the country for a reason. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. You know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Hey, in Game Time, we even credit you 110% of the difference if you find a better deal elsewhere. So look at that. More reason for you to get Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off at Game Time. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Hello there.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Nick Mantas, a San Antonio sports reporter. And once again, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. You guys are the everydayers. And look forward to tomorrow's show as we start wrapping up for that NBA lottery. Nick, it's right around the corner.
It's getting here,
right
man.
Here.
It can't get here fast enough.
I've never since this for good reason too, winning titles and long playoff runs, but I've not even the Tim Duncan lottery has a lottery been this fever pitch in the city, Nick. I mean, you can just feel it, can't you?
Right. No, absolutely. Everybody you talk to when it comes to just not just the progress of the Spurs moving forward, but where this team and where this NBA will drastically change when it comes to who gets that first pick and who gets Wemby.
Wemby. Can you imagine that guy already in silver and black? Well, look, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm getting ahead of myself so much so that earlier, right before I hit record, I thought I heard ESPN say, and tonight is the draft lottery. And I went, the NBA draft lottery is tonight. It was the NHL draft lottery. So I was like, that's how excited I am. But hey, that'll definitely be a topic for a future Locked On Spurs this week. Hey, we're talking about Coach Budenholzer and should the Spurs bring him back after his time with Milwaukee is now over. So yeah, let's get into it. The Spurs are in a rebuild. They're obviously retooling as we speak. They're crossing fingers that Wemby lands on their lap in a few short days. So they're obviously looking at the player, turnaround rebuild, but I think it's also time to start thinking about coaching. And Popovich, all signs are pointing that he will be back for another run as of this recording. But why not bring back a familiar face? Why not bring back Coach Bud, who's been with the Spurs before he left to Atlanta for over 10 years, Nick? It just makes sense to me. Your thoughts?
I think it would be great. I think that what's going to be really interesting is the fact that he has also been on the short list for a couple of different opportunities, whether it becomes, the opportunity they could see with I believe it was the Detroit position is open right now, and as well as the Toronto position as well for the head coaching position. So, I could definitely see him coming back if two things happen. If he doesn't, because we were just talking and discussing about the possibility of him looking at life full picture after the passing of his brother. If he doesn't like the offers that are out there for head coaching positions, or just doesn't want to go back through the agony of something that he had experienced through being the Bucks head coach, or whether it was something with the organization that he didn't like after having a winning an NBA championship and then parts ways with the organization, or two, if there are spots open on the bench that actually can bring him back. Mitch Johnson right now, the assistant coach, is interviewing with the Raptors. As the possibility if he can get that job. So if that spot like that opens up, I could see that happening. But at the same time, I think there's a risk of running where you have too many head chefs in one kitchen, where you have Mike Brown, you got Coach Bud, and you got Pop. Now, obviously, they were all there together at one time. They all know how to mesh together. They all know how to assume those assistant coaching roles. So you got a little bit of a spoil of riches type of situation as well. But there's the risk of running where you guys can fall back into their head coaching mentalities. So there's back and forth with both of those situations, but having Coach Bud on the coaching staff, having him on the bench, if Mitch Johnson decides to go take the Toronto Raptors job or go to Detroit, whichever he's up for, right now, I really see the possibility of Coach Bud as the succession of the head coaching position in San Antonio as a great option for the organization moving forward.
Yeah, it's almost win-win. So let's just say for some reason, something happens and Coach Bud comes back. Well, then you got Brett Brown and Coach Bud there.
Right.
It's like, it's win-win. Coach Bud takes the reins, great. Brown takes the reins, great. Good flow. But let me throw a little wrench in this though, Nick. It's different times though. And if you look at the two coaches, let's just use Brett Brown and Coach Bud in this situation. Brett Brown was with the Spurs during their peak. He goes to Philly and knows what it takes to rebuild, trust the process. Coach Bud hasn't been through that yet. He went from San Antonio to Atlanta, where they were a mediocre team, but never really was in a rebuild. Then he jumps to Milwaukee, wins titles, deep playoff runs, and here he is now. it's almost I still like Brett Brown still has the edge considering where the Spurs are at in their chapter of their history. Nick, your thoughts?
I think definitely does. As far as you were saying that the heyday of his assistant coaching guidance. I think it also correlated with the heyday of the guys that he had at that time, and the prime that they were in. So we always want to fall back on the idea that it's the guys out there that are going to win you the championships. Bill Belichick says that all the time, and so it's one of those things where you have to remember is it's also with the window of timing of realizing that sure he's was there during the heyday, but at the same time so were his players. And so I think that there's a possibility of maybe the organization realizing that this guy's had recent NBA championship experience, and as far as the Bucks championship, and there's a possibility that could really work out for him when it comes to him, maybe Coach Bud having the leg up, knowing that he was able to win one recently with the type of players that are coming into the league now that play a little bit different of a more of a style than maybe Coach Brown was used to when he was a head coach.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head when you said the spoils of riches. That's what it would become. And look, it's not unheard of for the Spurs to bring back coaches and use San Antonio as kind of a stopping point and then moving on. We saw that when Monty Williams, when he was his time was over with the Pelicans, he went to San Antonio, maybe not on the coaching staff, but it was more behind the scenes. Then he went on to Phoenix. So it's not totally unheard of. The Spurs could bring back, Coach Bud in that capacity behind the scenes. But I mean, that's just what it is. And look, for years, Nick, it was just thought of that Coach Bud was going to be the heir to Pop. And then he leaves. And then it turned to Messina. And then he went back to the EuroLeague. Then it was going to be Becky. And then she left to the WNBA. So there's pros to this, in my opinion. You're bringing back somebody who's familiar with Coach Pop and his style and the Spurs culture. But, I'm probably going to get hit for this, but why not, if you're in a rebuild, why not bring somebody fresh? Bring in a new coach, perhaps a little younger. I thought in my opinion, I know what Ime, allegedly did off the court, but I felt Ime would have been the phenomenal coach to replace Pop. Your thoughts?
I'll first start off with that. The woman that Ime messed with is having the kid, so there's no question as to what he did. There is going to be.
I haven't been keeping up with that drama, so
that's all right. I'm all here for the cheese man. But when it comes to bringing somebody in a little bit younger, that's I think what all young people in every industry are hopeful for, knowing that there's the shuffling of people in different positions. But you and I are young sports reporters, and we know that when it comes to moving up, there are people who have been there for years and years and years who maybe, are holding on to those positions. So I could see that being something that you and I would be really interested in because of our positions as well in our industries.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that would be exciting. I think that might, bring in some fresh eyes towards the organization and some fresh ideas for, maybe different offenses and different ways of using the talent that the Spurs will not only have now, but have after this draft, especially with a high pick. So that would be exciting to see. And that would be exciting for the organization if that could be bigger, for the organization to move forward. But at the same time, I think what brings the excitement to, some of the players as well, like we've mentioned in the past, a lot of these guys really, free agents and stuff want to play for guys like Pop. There's there's good relationships with Coach Budenholzer throughout the league as well. They want to play for him. They want to play for guys like Mike Brown. And if there's a possibility of having that scenario of all the riches of all the coaches who have huge names around the league, all in one coaching staff, you're going to get more guys who are probably going to want to learn from guys like that, who are going to want to get in organizations where they're going to be looked at as the stars that they are, which leads us to the possibility of big names coming to San Antonio really soon,
For sure.
which is just exciting to see the future of this organization and the free agency that's going to be huge, which I think is something that it will be good, moving forward. And your thoughts on some big names coming in.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm so glad because we'll address this and we'll go to break real fast. Because I was about to say that. I was about to go against what you just said right now, saying how Popovich, that players want to play for him. And my first thought when you said that, Nick, was could have fooled me. Because even in the Spurs' heyday, in their peak, when they're whacking and waxing teams off the court and just stopping them, winning titles, you still never saw big name players want to come to San Antonio. You never did. Oh, the Spurs were definitely used as leverage. Oh, for sure. Chris Paul. I'll give you another example. Kevin Durant. When Kevin Durant was a free agent, the Spurs were used as leverage, and he ended up going to Golden State. So I know Pop is respected, and I get all that. He is, Hall of Fame bound this summer. Yay. But LaMarcus Aldridge has only been the only one. That's it.
That's exactly
LMA.
what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, was him.
Only LMA in Popovich's tenure.
I think that turned out pretty well, though. I will say that.
It did. I just felt like he was a Band-Aid. To me, it was just a Band-Aid. Because I think you saw maybe something budding towards the end, with Kawhi and LMA, perhaps something there. Maybe they could have built around those two, but then we all know how that ended. But
what could have been?
Oh, what could have been? Hey, when we get back, I'm going to ask Nick the big question: should the Spurs bring back Coach Bud? And then a little game, a buy and sell. R.E. Russell Westbrook. Yeah, exactly. Get ready for that and much more right here on Locked On Spurs with Nick Mantas. Follow him on Twitter at Nick_MANTAS. Hey, I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. They got the $1 million daily Superflex promotion going on right now during the NBA playoffs/finals. So basically every day of the NBA finals and the playoffs, whatever all that is going on right now, one PrizePick user will win a chance to become a millionaire. One entry placed after 8 a.m. EST will be randomly selected each day. Whoever placed that entry will be given a 6 picks flex with the following payouts. 6 correct picks gets you 1 million. 5 correct picks get you 80K. 4 correct picks get you 16,000. Full details can be found at prizepicks.com/million. You must opt in at this link to be eligible for the $1 million entry. Once you opt in, all you got to do is play the game like normal. You could be the lucky winner. But overall, you really want to get PrizePicks ASAP. Yeah, basically you pick 2 to 6 players. They go on to win or score, I should say, more or less in the prize pick projection. You put up to 25 times your money on any entry. You don't compete against anybody else. It's just you versus the projections available for NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing. The list goes on and on. They got it all over at PrizePicks. Safe and fast withdrawals, currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can get themselves a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks gives you $100. You deposit $50, PrizePicks gives you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100.
Hello there.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with San Antonio sports reporter Nick Mantas, who flexed his Spanish skills. I heard that cheese man word earlier, Nick. Kudos.
I gotta use them from time to time. Thank you. I got some good friends who were able to help me out with a little bit of lingo here and there.
Do you speak Spanish, or are you just kind of picking it up?
I speak it. I speak a little bit. I speak a little bit here and there. I get corrected now and again by my girlfriend. So I'm learning as much as I possibly can because I want to try to be trilingual at some point, or even learn even more. So I know sentences in Spanish. I know English, and then I'm trying to also learn Greek as well. So so try to put all three of those together to have a nice mix of all languages that are not just my family, but also my surrounding areas and future family as well. So
this may warm your heart for a little bit and then make you feel disappointed at the end. So for a little while in my life, I used to live in Michigan and Lansing, Michigan. And Lansing, Michigan has a very big population of Greek. There's a lot of Greek people in Lansing. And there was this Greek restaurant I used to go to. And the owner there, he had a menu and it was in Greek and in English.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just got curious one day and I just told him, "Hey, how do you pronounce this?" 'Cause I see the lettering and the words, and he said it for me and everything. And every time I would go there, he would teach me a new phrase. Teach me a new
That's
phrase. I was starting to get a little bit kind of getting my ear for it because he would talk
okay.
in Greek and to his on the phone with his family, or I think his wife would pop in.
Mm-hmm.
And then my time in Lansing was over, and I forgot everything.
Oh,
Ugh,
too bad.
I forgot everything.
We're gonna have to bring you some Greek food and teach you some more sayings and stuff like that. Some spanakopita or some
Yeah,
tarama or something like that. Then
and
make some
and
good
and,
stuff for you.
and what is it with Greek guys? And I tell you this much: you're going to be my neighbor soon, right?
Yeah.
My former New York City roommate,
Mm-hmm.
Greek,
Mm-hmm.
100% Greek. This guy was Greek, so but you guys, you Greek guys are pretty cool, man. I gotta tell you that much. Just really
Thank you.
down to earth, chill guys. But hey,
Thank you. We try to be.
try to be, yeah, exactly. But hey, let's put you on the hot seat now.
Let's do it.
If the Spurs want to do it, should the Spurs bring back Coach Bud?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm buying that 100%.
I'm gonna
I'm
buy
buying that.
Yeah.
I'm buying that not just because of the way in which things ended in Milwaukee, and we'll probably get some more details on that as
Mhm.
more reports come out, but because of the fact that he was such a critical part of the Spurs organization
Mhm.
through his time there and through
Absolutely.
winning a couple
Mhm.
of championships as an assistant coach. So I'm buying that absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it too. I think if the Spurs have the opportunity to get him in back to San Antonio, I think they should do that. I think go well. We know he's a recent championship coach. Not to knock on Pop, we know his resume, but
Hmm.
he have a recent NBA title winning head coach. He's been with Giannis for X amount of years. Perhaps inject some new ways, maybe, and some old
Yeah,
ways at the same time, with Coach Pop. So yeah, I am going to go ahead and buy that. Yeah, I think they should bring back Coach Bud. But we want to know what you think. You can let Nick know on Twitter at Nick_Mantas. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast, and YouTube, Ken's 5 Plus, Apple. We're not done yet, everybody. We're going to keep Nick on that hot seat, and we're going to have another buy or sell. A little fun one here. So, Nick, Vegas is cranking out their odds already as the offseason is right around the corner.
already.
And their player free agency player odds are coming out little by little. And the most recent one is Russell Westbrook. Yes, he is a free agent once the official offseason begins for the NBA. And the Spurs, Nick, have the sixth best odds and landing Westbrook, according
Hmm.
to bookie.com. Buy or sell, Nick? Spurs should chase Westbrook.
I think that they would be.
Be careful now. Careful, Spurs fans gonna flip
Mm.
tables now.
I'm unfortunately I'm selling. And the only reason why I'm selling is because I'm looking at the roster right now, and I'm looking at the guys that they have, and the creativity and the abilities that they have right now to work together. The young core can really do some things if they work together for a long time, and they have some stars who can really shine and stay healthy. And the Spurs, I think, have that right now. I really do look at the young core of this team and see them as a very a 2013, maybe a 2014 era of the Warriors, and the way in which they were building very quietly in the Bay Area, with guys that they were making moves to send Monty Williams away, or sorry, not Monty Williams. It was Ellis. What they wanted to get out of
And
there as
Monte
well.
Ellis, yeah.
Monte Ellis.
Yeah.
And so I don't buy that getting somebody like Russell Westbrook is the answer to the Spurs' problems because
Mm-hmm.
of the position that he plays and the guys that the Spurs have right now. Not to say that they wouldn't benefit from him, but
Mm-hmm.
as far as the core, the backcourt having the ability to really um, to really mesh well together, that these guys may not have the same skill set that Westbrook has, not the same notoriety or star power that Russell Westbrook has right now, but I could see them turning into guys who could have that at someday. The Vassell has the abilities to run up and down the court and be a big body like Westbrook does. There's other guys who I think can make something happen where it's not going to be as high of a price tag to get somebody like that. You already have him on your roster. I'm not saying they're tradable, but at the same time, I think that bringing him in at that position isn't going to help you in any way that you already do have, because every place that he's gone this past season hasn't been that huge of an impact where I think it's worth bringing him in where you already have guys at that position. What do you think?
I'm gonna sell as well. I don't think the Spurs should do it.
Okay.
I think they should pass. I don't think he fits the current rebuilding timeline. I also think that what he even considers San Antonio, considering his juncture in his NBA career, he's chasing a title still. I don't think he would want to come to a rebuilding program right now in San Antonio. Obviously, money talks, and the Spurs have a lot of it.
Right.
They got a bucket full of bucks in San Antonio right now to give Westbrook. I can see perhaps as one of the big reasons why Vegas has the Spurs among the top 10 right now. But I just don't think he will want to come to San Antonio. Also, too, there will be just a backlog of players at his position. There's Branham, there's Blake, there's Trey Jones. There's the chance that Scoot may be a Spur. Then what? So, I think they're going to want to evaluate where they are after the lottery / draft. Then you'll see. He's going to demand the ball. That takes touches away from their developing players right now. Perhaps the only wrench I can think of that where the Spurs might consider it is with Trey Jones. I believe he's a restricted free agent.
Okay.
So unless another team throws the money at him and the Spurs don't want to match, but even then, I don't think that money thrown at Trey Jones would be anything they couldn't afford to match, because considering their financial situation. But yeah, I'm gonna sell that. Yeah, I'm just gonna sell that. I don't think he would. There are some Spurs fans that think he would fit well, and they look at more the marketing side of it. He'll put butts in seats. He would sell tickets. It's Westbrook, and what's he gonna do this time, and triple doubles.
Right.
But no, considering where the Spurs are in their chapter and their history right now, I think the Spurs should pass. But with that, Nick, we are done right here on Locked On Spurs. Nick, what do you got cooking? What do you got cooking?
We got all.
What's cooking? What's cooking?
We got all kinds of good stuff coming up. There's a lot more that I've been doing on my social media pages. There's some opportunities with radio that I've been discussing with some people as well. So I'm really excited about. So as well as some on air opportunities. So I'm talking with a good amount of people, and hoping that things will lead into some more opportunities, and just staying present with a lot of connections, a lot of different people I'm meeting in the area, as well as on social media, and different people who I think can add more to the content that we're all trying to push out there, not just with San Antonio sports, but just sports in general. And I'm really excited with the way in which I've been able to use not just my connections through the industry, but also connections I've made through social media, through my Instagram page, Nick Mantas TV, my YouTube page, Nick Mantas TV as well, and through my website as well. And so there's all different kinds of opportunities out there, and different things that when the time comes, I can give some more information on them. And as we've discussed on previous episodes, I'll definitely make sure you hear about it right before I post it, so you can watch bomb it when it comes out. And I'm excited for not just to obviously to be on your show again, but also for more opportunities, for more stuff coming up really soon. So stay tuned is all I can really say, right now. So I'm really excited though. So,
and then what's gonna happen is then I'm gonna ask Nick to come on Locked On Spurs. Now I got time for you, you lower totem pole kids anymore.
Oh, stop it! You get out of here. You get out of here. There's never a totem pole with me. There's always great connections with good people. So
absolutely. Once again, follow Nick on Twitter at Nick_Mantas. Let him know what you think about his takes today on this episode of Locked On Spurs, and also check it out too, because he puts those. I love your videos when you put out there. They're fun. They're real fun. I think you did one on NFL. I think you did one, or that was a good one. By the way, I know you're recovering the Brahmas, but is anybody going to the championship game in San Antonio?
That's
Like,
what's so interesting. So
yeah,
you get a great opportunity to have a great game at a huge stadium, or what I consider
yeah,
pretty big when it comes to XFL stadiums. And you have two teams that don't have a home connection to here at
yeah,
all. Which makes me think that maybe you should have done it at one of the home stadiums.
right.
Sure, I get wanting to do it at a big location, and there's some teams that I'm sure that fans will definitely travel. But I mean, I personally think it should be whoever had the better record, or better seed, or something like that between the two that are going to be the finals and this championship game. And so I think we might at the end of this week see a lot of people giving away tickets when it comes to radio shows or different people throughout the city. So there might be a lot of those flying around. So if you see somebody who's giving away tickets, you'll know that at the end of the day they weren't able to really sell a lot of them. So I don't know a ton of people who are going, but I would assume a lot of people are coming in town. Who are going to go. So that'll be interesting to see. So.
Definitely will. And if you want to keep all the latest in San Antonio sports and more, again, at Nick_Mantas on Twitter. That's MANTAS. He'll correct you too in your Greek. So
exactly.
Get some free Greek. Yeah, get some free Greek lessons there. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. You guys are the everydayers. Don't forget to wait for tomorrow's show right here on Locked On Spurs. Available on YouTube, Kins 5 Plus app, so much more, and including Sirius XM NBA Radio. Yep, that's it. Be looking for news on that. All the Locked On podcast shows from NFL, NHL, NBA will be now streaming on Sirius XM Radio. So look at that, Nick. Your voice gets out to a bigger audience there.
Love it.
So for Nick Mantas, I am Jeff Garcia. We're putting a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.
Thank you.